You can be
So
entrepreneurial, you can be business oriented, you can generate money, but you do it without cheating, sort of. So yeah, I
yes,
think that
yes.
is possible. It's harder. Might
It takes longer. It
takes
takes
longer.
longer, Daniel, and it builds relationships which last.
Yeah.
So sometimes you would have a discussion with someone casually, and that's the relationship comes back a few years later, and would say, remember when we discussed this and this and that, are you still interested? Would you like to do something with that? And those things happen. We don't
Yeah.
somehow we think of entrepreneurship and we're painting the few people who make a lot of money very early on in life as if they are role models. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, if I'm following a role model who I believe should be a billionaire by 40, then I need to find ways and means for myself to be a billionaire by 40. Otherwise, I'm a failure.
Yeah.
And if those are the role models which people are getting, then unfortunately, it's not easy for someone to feel okay if they are bootstrapping and they're building up their business bit by bit.
Yeah. Do you have role models, Corinne?
um, I would say my father.
Okay. Well,
He would be proud, but yes. Other than that, there are a lot of people who I admire in
okay.
one way or another, but not people in their, I would, I'm very careful at saying that someone is who I want to be, because I know that that person has struggles that I know nothing of.
Hmm.
And I also know that that person might have made mistakes that I know nothing of.
Very cool.
And everyone does mistakes. And that is another message that I really like to pass on. We're just human. We make mistakes and we're not intended to have a linear uphill trend. I don't think that success in life means making more money this year than the other one.
Hmm.
Success in life is being more fulfilled, I would say, and being authentic to our true selves and walking our own journey without following anyone else. But admiring um, uh, traits in other people who do it better than we do. So I remember someone where I used to work. He was very good at taking decisions, irrespective of whether they were good or otherwise. He was so sure of himself that you would say he's right.
Hmm.
And I don't emulate that, but I admire that.
But it's very
But
true.
mostly I admire people who can say, listen, I've made mistakes. I've done them and I will in the future. So don't try
Yeah.
to be like me because it's not okay. Just be you.
Yeah. So it's I think you're saying that when the person is comfortable with embracing their human side and
Mhm.
being humble in their approach, that would be the person you'd admire.
I would, yes. I
Mm.
would. I
And
would.
I think we've touched on the topic of humility earlier on in our conversation because it takes humility to admit that you made a mistake and that um, you're human and that you're a work in progress, sort of.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it does take a little does take humility to admit that.
Um, I think that admitting to be, to have humility is the biggest antithesis of humility. But I do admire people who are humble in their approach.
Mm.
I wouldn't say that I'm always like that, and I would like to be like that. But yes, being able to say I've made mistakes, especially when we are in positions where others follow us.
Yeah.
So I was in management for a number of years. Now my position of leadership is in the classroom, and it's different because in one way it's different because people expect of you to lead. In another way, even in managerial outlooks and positions, you are also expected to lead. And one of the things that may not be always said is that managers are human beings. We just take decisions under uncertainty all the time. And that means that if this is an uncertain decision, I have a chance that it's going to work out right and not or not. So through experience, most probably we gain a very good sense of what will work and what will not.
Yes.
But some things will always, go wrong for us. And learning to admit a mistake is the biggest learning part of it, because once you have said this did not work right, then I can change.
Yeah.
If I mediment in a way that I say, no, this was okay and nothing can be done, then I'm not going to learn anything new.
And that's key in leadership, because most leaders are afraid or retract when it comes to admitting that a mistake was done. It's not a mistake because, as you said earlier, you take a decision with the best of intentions, but some things, the way that they work out, are not perhaps foreseeable. So we might take a decision with the unfortunate result. So, but facing that with the team or with the company, whatever, as a leader, and um, are publicly saying that that was a mistake, but we're doing this, and this to mitigate or to reverse the damage, or to reduce the impact or whatever. I think that's a huge sign of strength, which is often underestimated.
Yes, and often abused of in a way by others, but I think that it's the way that it should be. In a way, people who are in management are expected not to make mistakes.
Yes, that is why.
That is one of them. And the second one is that we also, if we are in a leadership position, we don't want to make mistakes, and we don't want to make them often, because that means that we're not good leaders.
Yes.
So we try to uphold our own image of who we are, and we try to show a side of ourselves, even to ourselves, because we don't like to feel like a failure. And so admitting a failure is challenging both for the team around you and for yourself, because it's admitting that you might not be very good at what you do. And we're not perfect, but mistakes do happen. So this is also another aspect of my research, and it is how we uphold our own vision of ourselves. And we don't want to feel that we are less than who we think we are. So we don't want to feel that we are imposters.
Yeah.
And so we create an image of ourselves that is in line with what we want to be. And if I want to be a great leader, and if I believe that a great leader should never make a mistake, then I'm never going to admit a mistake. I'm going to justify it. I'm going to find reasons why that happened, not out of something that is my own fault.
Yeah. And you might limit the learning aspect of that
Of course,
by doing
yes.
so.
Yes. And there's also a limit to how many mistakes we make.
Yeah.
In this sense, a mistake is a mistake, but then if we don't learn from it, it's no longer a mistake.
Yes. And there are ways, that means, how you can mitigate the mistake as well. Usually by doing research before, by doing a good plan, which is um, the 80-20 rule, right? So you 80% the planning and the 20% is the execution.
The execution.
So it takes 80% effort of a project to plan and to make sure that everything is set up, and then the execution becomes easier.